A very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the second webinar under the lockdown circumstances. We'll be starting shortly in 2 minutes as one of the panelists is just at the mercy of technological glitch. So give us 2 minutes and we'll start the session. And a very warm welcome to all of you.
Go Wali.
Uh, so due to some technical error, one of the panelists will be in touch with us through the audio mode. Anandita ma'am, are we audible to you?
Yes, yes, I am. I can hear you, Stuti.
Right, ma'am.
Hello.
So, yes, ma'am. A very warm afternoon to all of you from Faculty of Management Studies, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies. We welcome you to the second webinar that we are hosting today on Leadership 3.0, COVID-19 Leading Out of Adversity under the lockdown circumstances. So for today's webinar, we have with us Dr. Anandita Chatterjee Rao, who's a professor with Faculty of Management Studies and has extensive experience of more than 18 years and has published her research papers and chapters in many national and international journals. We also have with us Dr. Sahil Malik, who's assistant professor with Faculty of Management Studies, Manav Rachna, and is a young dynamic professor in the area of organizational behavior. So I welcome both the panelists to today's session, and I hope that our audience and participants will find it absolutely of their interest in the current scenario. So welcome Dr. Anandita and Dr. Sahil.
A very good afternoon to all, and I'm really glad to be here to be presenting our presentation on Leadership 3.0, that is the COVID-19 leading out of adversity. Uh, Now, we in years we have confronted a very unique kind of a situation where we have understood that uh, the way the things have been, and we have seen a lot of changes in, and there is a lot of disruption that has happened due to COVID-19. And why do we name this as Leadership 3.0? Because uh, till now, people used to talk about transactional leadership, they used to talk about transformational leadership, but suddenly, after this COVID-19, there is all total a new situation that we are seeing, which requires a lot of agility and strong, decisive power to overcome a crisis situation. So, since it is a all new version of people with, who are trying to get their ways out in such trying scenarios, that's why we have named it as Leadership 3.0. Now, we hope to give you four key takeaways. The first one is that understanding how COVID-19 has affected the organizations and the employees in 21st century. And we'll also elaborate on the role of leaders, what they are going to play in the current scenario, and also to comprehend the post-COVID challenges. That is going to be very, very challenging scenario for our Indian administration, the world economy itself. And the last one is that analyze the possible avenues of employment which might be taken up by the students in the future. So I would now request Sahil to take on the session from here.
Thank you, Anandita ma'am. A very good afternoon to all of you, my faculty members, my colleagues, Professor Anandita, my senior colleague, all the participants to this webinar who have joined us on this platform, and special thanks to Dr. Stuti who have given us this opportunity to share our thoughts and ideas on this decided theme of uh, leadership 3.0, COVID-19 coming out of the adversity, so leading out of the adversity. So as it is an evident fact that we are just moving through a very tough time in our life, and there is no doubt about this thing that this is the first case in which we have, uh, uh, in our life, this is the first time we have occurred, this kind of situation has occurred. And maybe the newspapers are right that they say that after 1945 Second World War, this is the worst days which the world has is seeing. So it is just because of, it is a biological thing and we can't do anything about it. So but as a
Yeah,
human,
Sahil, true.
but as a human
Yeah,
beings,
so
we, yes ma'am.
yeah, Sahil. So, uh, looking at the current scenario, we see that there is a lot of challenges which the leadership of a company has to face. The first, of course, challenge is to reduce the COVID-19 cases so that it stops disrupting the economy and disrupting the market, and to win back new customers. And of course, the technology is going to be of great use in reaching our end customer. And also that we have to create advantage through resilience, because this is a situation where social distancing and doing a nothing kind of a thing is working in a most beneficial way. And also we have to leverage the opportunity so that we can make the collective progress in order uh, to get out of the current scenario, the current crisis that the COVID-19 has posed in front of world and India. And also in the same way, we have to protect the organizations, we have to protect the lives, and we have to protect the livelihood as well. So
I do
talking
agree.
about the next, yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
Sahil,
I do.
please.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I do agree with the fact that which you have just mentioned, that two things which is very much important to fight against this thing, that is the resilience and, at the social distancing, which our honorable Prime Minister has already shared. And he has just, engaged all the people. And it is the, this is the rule of thumb which all of us has to follow, just to, avoid this and come out of this pandemic.
Yeah, so taking from here to the next slide, we come to the day when the crisis actually struck. Just to take you through a timeline, it was the 31st December when the pandemic actually started in Wuhan, China, and people took a notice of it. On exactly a month later, that is 30th January 2020, the public health emergency was declared, and March 11th, the cases of COVID outside China increased 13-fold. And it was that time when WHO actually declared it as a pandemic. And March 18, the world saw that Italy actually surpassed the death rate of the China itself, where this virus outbreak happened. And it was March 22 when India finally declared the lockdown. Now, if we look at the timelines, we can see that people were actually moving fast, and they were actually very, 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 very under a state of shock by looking at what the pandemic has brought and how much it has the capacity, the contagious, nature of it. That outside China also it was able to infect so many people outside the country, and those countries who were initially opposing the lockdown, they had to pay a huge price. So with this thing, as soon as the world economy saw a shutdown, we saw that the economic activity, which is the backbone of the world economy, the trade which runs the globe, we saw that there was a huge decline in it. And the business cycle that was actually in place actually got disrupted. And there were a lot of signs that this recession was going to affect the employment, the livelihoods of people in a big way. So from here, the challenge of India began, because the lockdown was a very thought about decision. But if we really want to see what kind of challenges was India facing at that time, is that India was having a healthcare facility that was of course inadequate for dealing such kind of a situation which encompass so many patients and such a high rate of infection, and of course the soaring deaths also. And then we were the second largest populated country. We had a large base of laborers and inorganized sector people, so they were a huge challenge for the government, because what kind of economic benefits could be given to them. And India of course has we have a very big bureaucracy kind of a system, so there is always a limitation of our resources. And the most important thing that was very very crucial at this phase of time was to how to control the panic, because the communication was very very important tool that was required in order to bring the confidence in people that they were that this kind of a situation we have to get over by a kind of a discipline and patience. So that kind of a communication thing had to be very very strong. So these were some of the challenges which India was facing when the lockdown happened. So from there I'll request Sahil to please deliberate upon the type of crisis.
Uh, just adding to what ma'am has told, that as far as the number of cases are concerned, now I was reading in the newspaper yesterday that today now we have 25 lakh cases reported throughout the world as far as this pandemic is concerned, and almost 1.5 lakh people have lost their life because of this thing. So this shows how much is the gravity of the pandemic, and we should always try to this is nothing less than a crisis, because uh, apart because when the newspapers say that this is after Second World War, so that was one crisis, and that was another type of crisis where countries were fighting against each other. But now every country is together fighting against the common evil. So this is this is nothing less than a crisis. So it requires lot of patience from all of us, lot of precautions to be taken from from all of us, because it is not it cannot be done by the government as a as a single entity. All of us has to come together and just fight against it.
Yeah, so taking from here, when we talk about crisis, like for example, we were talking about the leadership in a crisis situation. So when we talk about crisis here, generally here on screen you can see that there are four type of crises that actually happen. So the first one is accidental, the second one is natural, the third is technological, and the fourth is the conflict of interest. So these are
Anandita,
typical kind of crisis. Yes.
we have a question so far for you and Dr. Sahil from Nishtha Grover, who's asking that what exactly
Okay.
is the root cause of coronavirus? Like it is caused by what? So,
See, whatever, yeah. So to explain to this reason, when we talk about a virus, a virus is something which is when it is lying outside any living organism, it's considered to be a dead organism. But when it comes to human being or any kind of animal, it uses the animal protein and it gets activated. So it has got that kind of thing that with looking at the contagious nature of the virus, it is generally presumed that it is not something natural. But see, yet a lot of testing and a lot of intelligence agencies are looking into the matter. So it won't be right that we held somebody responsible for it. But yes, at present we have a situation, we have a virus, and we have lakhs of people who are under the infection, and more than lakhs, about more than 1 lakh people have died, have lost their life. And still the economies are struggling hard with their state of art healthcare facilities also to combat the situation. So this is a situation for me, and I guess from there we have to think as a leader. We that is a post the problem thing. We at present are into some different kind of scenarios, and we have to save the lives of people. So
also
thank you,
adding to
Nishtha.
it, also adding
Hmm.
to it, Anandita ma'am, what I feel is that presence of this particular virus is majorly in all our bodies somehow. Right now, the major concern, as ma'am very rightly said, is on how to handle and manage the current scenario situations, and in difficult times, what are the changing trends that are happening, right?
Yeah.
So,
So
over to you.
I'm really happy that you have been asking questions and listening us through. So hopefully we'll have a lot of questions from you at the end, I'm sure of it. So if we look at the crisis side, we can see that it is a very natural kind of a crisis in which we have no control over it. But yes, the repercussions are such that we have to obey by the rules. For example, doing nothing and staying at home is actually what is going to benefit economy most at this point of time. So yes, that is there. So when this kind of a situation occurs in a life of a leader, you are into you are owning something and you are running something, and suddenly you feel that there is a circumstance which is outside your control. Immediate thing that we require as a leader is to have right intelligence working behind, working for us. And we need to understand the seriousness of the situation, because see, ultimately, if we are seeing here that what US agencies have been blaming the Trump administration, that the government was well informed about the crisis long ago, but then also they were unable to efficiently handle the situation. So those kinds of things occur because when the state of chaos occur, there is a panic and there is a heavy deployment of resources, and in that case, if it is unplanned, then it leads to a lot of wastage of resources also. So here the thing is that as a leader, the first thing you have to remember, earlier the better. Earlier you are able to gauge a situation, you are able to take right information about the crisis that is happening in that situation, more successful you are bound to become as a leader. So from here, when we move to the next slide, we can see that after the lockdown, there is a certain kind of scenario which all the companies of the economy are facing. So we have to understand how business actually happens in the digital era. So in the digital era, uh, what happens is that nowadays businesses have to be really running on strategic goals. Strategic goals means you have to be having the goals which have short term and long term outcome driven, where you are achieving something as per the requirement of the time, where you always constantly align your strength and weakness with the opportunities and the threats of the environment. So that kind of a strategic goal making is required. Then employees are the major force who run this kind of a system, which is very volatile, and which has to be working between a lot of constraints, which are considered as a challenge given by the market conditions. And there needs to be customer focused processes where you have to understand your business and you have to do everything to go to meet your to reach to your end customer. And of course there is a big role which a transformative technology plays. So from here, with this kind of a background story, we start how the crisis management happens and what role has a leader to play in such situation. So now if I move to the first thing, after you have understood the crisis and you have cultivated the instincts that this is going to be a huge kind of a challenge to existing state of things, how they are happening, in those cases there is three things that you do. There are three things. So it is known as RAR. R is known as recognition, A is known as action, and R is known as response. So the first thing when we talk about is identifying people. Okay, so as soon as the crisis happens, it's not that the whole organization have to indulge in the crisis. Okay, we have to always go by a concept of task force, and the task force is the grouping of those people who are holding responsible positions, and they have a specific functional idea of a certain domain that they are caring, okay, that they are taking care of. And a most important thing is that they should have the ability to work as a team and a lot of trust in between them, so that they are able to understand what kind of a situation and the kind of solutions that can be exercised in this kind of a situation. So after you have identified the people which are going to be the representative of your stakeholders, the other thing that we are required to do is there is going to be a lot of training to them, that how they are going to work as a team, what are going to be the team processes, from where the information will originate, and how the information is going to flow from the system. All the points where the crossroads can happen, those have to be plugged. So this kind of, when you are equipped with this kind of a protocol and this kind of a target, you actually form a crisis team. And then the last step here is that now the crisis team has two major actions. The first is that you have to plan a response which can actually help you to meet the goals. And the other thing is that uh, the crisis communication. The crisis communication is another thing that means, see, one thing is how we are going about it. Now, the other thing is to keep the end user, means the customers, the public at large, the employee at large, informed. So that is known as a crisis communication. So the response is equally important as the communication, because if you even plan a good response, but the communication failure is there, the people, still the state of chaos will happen. So for that reason, both things should go hand in hand. So Sahil, I would request you to elaborate on the next slide, that is on the crisis management cycle.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to add two things here, that if we talk about
Yeah, sure.
this, if we talk about this pandemic, I can visualize the things in two ways. That first is the macro level and at the micro level. So macro level, if I talk about that, if in a country such situation like happens to some, some region, so due to some certain violence, or due to certain some other things, so what the government do? Government goes for house arrest. So it is just like the same. I can replicate the same thing here, that government has given us an informal house arrest thing, that we should all and we do because of our own prevention and protection. So this is, I think, one thing. This is one thing which the government has done at the macro level to manage this crisis. And the second thing, which at the micro level, which I can see, is that certain other things which we should always take care, that we should always sanitize our hands. These are certain small things we should imbibe in our habits, because of this pandemic has occurred. So crisis can be managed from it has to be managed from both the ways, like macro level as well as the micro level. So I think these are the 2 points which I wanted to discuss.
Yeah, so taking ahead, and we'll just look at the crisis management cycle, because that will help us to understand what are the leadership impetus for it. So here you can see on the screen, we have a complete cycle, which is a five-step kind of a thing. A little elaboration on the first three steps, kind of what we discussed in the last slide. So here, identification and preparation have been separately placed in two different kind of circles, and there is prevention, response, and recovery. Now, going by the cycle, the first stage is the vulnerability assessment, that is the preparation phase. So just imagine, now just do a scenario planning. What would have happened when the Indian government would have come to know that the lockdown, there is no other solution than a lockdown, because we have no resources to fight the virus in if it goes if looking at the rate of infection that is happening in the other countries. um, but as soon as we implement the lockdown, what are the probable outcomes that will happen in the economy? So the first thing is that people will be really scared about their jobs, about their employment, uh, be it an employer, be it an employee. The another thing would be they would be really panicked about procuring the essential goods, because those are the lifelines, especially the FMCG goods and the eatables and the vegetable part. And the other thing is the medical supplies. uh, so if you see it was clearly thought out that what are the essential things without which a family can't do within the home also. So looking at those things, these essential things without which a family can't manage at home. If you see, the lockdown was a well planned process, and it was planned very in a very short time. Because see, one of the greatest thing that is required in a time of crisis is you should have a strong decisiveness, and there is a temporal quality to it, that you can't take the time at your convenience. You have to act fast. So if you see, some things that could be thought about was were deliberated by the committee, the crisis team of PMO, and certain implementations were done. Okay, so uh, as and when the implementations were planned, if you see, the PMO has, even the Prime Minister of India has rightly addressed to the audience, that is the citizens of India at large. So there they have actually clearly told that, if we talk about the communication part, uh, he was very, if you see his speech when he announced the lockdown, you can see that he has clearly mentioned that there is no other alternative to it, and there is no other way out of the given situation, and also that the government is planning for wellness of the citizen, and it is making all the possible efforts of healthcare so that they can actually fight the virus attack in the common man. So here, if I take you to in a bit detail, you will be able to see in
If
the
I
next
can
slide,
add,
which
ma'am.
shows, yeah, yes, sure, Sahil.
Yeah, as this cycle says that identification, preparation, prevention, response, and recovery. So this is, we can also visualize the same thing, like identification of the crisis, which our government has done very, in a very convincing manner. And then if we are if we are going through the lockdown part two, this shows that after preparation and then prevention, what is the response. So if the response uh, is abysmal from, the number of cases are getting increased day by day. So that is why, government has tried and extended this lockdown, and has told this as, lockdown 2. And let us see that what happens, in the next, after third of May, then how the situation prevails. And then if the trajectory is going, if the trajectory, or we yet to achieve the peak, then I think the lockdown may extend. And I think the government will not be shy to extend the lockdown till the time that we don't touch the peak, and then the trajectory goes down.
In between, I'll also
Yeah,
request all
so
the participants to keep on asking questions so that we can put it forward to our panelists. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, Anandita ma'am. Please continue.
yeah, it's okay, Stuti. It's Stuti. So if you see here, if we see the operational handling of the problem, we can see that when the announcement was initially made, uh, the citizens were assured that there will be no salary cuts for the citizens of employed sector. Job loss would not happen during this period. And he made a very empathetic appeal to people, which was really important in order to make them understand the gravity of the problem. And he made certain essential changes, certain essential announcement, which actually ensured people that they will be getting whatever they require to stay comfortably at home. And at the same time, he also took care of the moratorium period of that was announced by the Reserve Bank of India for the EMI facility. So I think all things were well thought about. And in coming days, we also saw that how health workers were motivated by giving them a 50 lakhs insurance if they die during this working as a health counterpart during this situation. So these all say that because they were actually knowing that these are some of the issues which closely associate with the people who form the are important part of our democracy. So any kind of tension or any kind of confusion in their minds is going to disrupt the entire process that they were planning. So from their side, they ensured that all the things are well taken care of. And if you see the operational level planning, there were identifying hotels, they were identifying hospitals. They sensitized police forces also, because they have to play a very, very important role just next to the health workers, and to protect them also, and to maintain the discipline and order in the society. And at the same time, procuring the facilities for the health workers so that the risk can be reduced. So I think these were some of the operational planning that became the part of crisis planning based on the vulnerability assessment that the government did in that current situation. And if I talk about the communication part, what do we say, who says, and how do we say, that is very, very important. So for that, they made a government app, that is Arogya Setu. So there is no kind of confusion in that, because of course the data is being constantly telecasted by the media channel. But yes, there is a reputation of a government app, and they were given helplines, the local helplines and the central helplines. And the best thing that the government could have done, even before the lockdown was announced, was the revision of the caller tunes of each and every phone calls or the cell numbers that we are using. So constantly, when the ringtone, instead of a ringtone, you can just hear the announcement going on from there. So Sahil, I would just request to take us through the next slide, that is the prevention slide.
Yes, ma'am. What I can analyze from the government initiatives, that they are banking upon, I think, two, three things, which I think you must also agree, that they are not jumping to the conclusion. They are reaching to the conclusion. I think they are going step by step, and they are just keeping the things in tight control, and they want that employees and as well as the general people, they should hold their nerves for this thing, and they should not create the panic, because if they come out of their homes and just do their own routine work, so that is this is not the kind of prevention which the government has asked for. And the second thing is that they are just applying the common sense, that what can be their next strategy. Like I can remember that in days of demonetization, the RBI governor and the finance secretary, they were quite flexible in their approach, and every day they were changing the norms, and every day they were changing the rules and regulations, and they sailed it very easily out of that situation. So I am assured that this time also India will come out of very with the flying colors out of this crisis. And as far as
Yeah.
if we if we compare India with the rest of the world, I think India is doing fairly a good job.
Yeah, true, true. That's really true. So we can see that the prevention step we have taken down very strongly. But the another step is, after the preparation, we come to the prevention step. So in the prevention step, if we see that we are seeing here five things. The first is the truth. The second is anticipate. Third is do not overtalk. Fourth is accept responsibility, and respond immediately. So if you see here, is that whenever the crisis is happening, you have goals and you have specific timeline to meet those goals. And how well you are meeting those goals, which actually tell you how well you are progressing. And if you are not progressing, so how and what deviations are occurring, and how you can actually handle those deviations. So if you see that there has been a constant release of data by WHO. There has been a constant release by data by the government agencies of India, where they are giving an update about the infections that are happening, about the hotspots, about the any kind of changes that the government is bringing to the current situation, any kind of amendments which they are planning to make. So everything is posted well. So this is one of the step of preventions. Um, then another thing is that, if you can see anticipation. Anticipation is that knowing now the kind and the situation in which the infection has gone out of control in certain regions, due to certain kind of behavior, or certain kind of non agreeability of the people towards the government norms. So already the government is it's going in a phased manner, that is, it has divided the zone into red, green and yellow. So Looking at the situation, it is identifying the hotspot, it is sealing those hotspots, and it is doing a sample kind of a testing, looking at because we don't have adequate number of test kits. So they are going by a sampling plan, and that too also based on the hotspot identification. And looking at the economic activity that is happening or that is getting damaged, because running of the government is also getting impacted to a great extent. So if you can see here, there is a partial lockdown which is proposed for the areas where the COVID-19 is under control. There have been days where no cases have been found out. So in such areas, they are slowly giving space for the economic activities, for the essential goods to FMCG goods to take upon. Now, if you see the kind of the responsibility structure that is happening is that if you see if you see the PMO, the way it has acted, initially the lockdown it was announced by Prime Minister of India, but in the second phase of lockdown, if you see, all the chief ministers were made responsible. Okay, so if you so the chief minister had to take a call if they want to extend the lockdown or they want to resume the economic activity. So this is now something known as passing on the responsibility, that please now you have to take care of your own area, and you have to, the central government is rendering a support to them constantly, but the whole act is to be considered, have to be implemented by them. So if you see the district commissioners have played a very important role. So if you see the Bhilwara model, there the district commissioner rate has ensured that to have a plan by which they can actually check that no other infection is happening in that area. There is a Kerala model that is declared. There is a Agra model that is declared. So in all these areas, if you can see, the district commissioners have been made as a leader, and they have been given certain amount of resources, and other planning thing, the ground planning thing has been organized by them. So this is how they have shifted the responsibility down the line. And the last here is respond immediately. That means in any case, when we find that there is certain kind of a uprising happening, for example, we see that hordes of laborers, they got together at Anand Bazaar, at Anand Vihar bus stand to go home. So that was a unique kind of a situation which the people faced. They thought that giving assurances and food to them will resolve the problem, but apparently it didn't. And then we saw another thing that happened in Bombay. So in both the cases, these were some of the unforeseen kind of situation which actually came, though government or the state governments assured that they were giving proper food and staying facilities to them, but still there were some people who were headbound to go to their own villages. So looking at all those things, we can see that how the leadership way has progressed, in which all the stakeholders have been made responsible for their area of duty, though the central leadership is in constantly with them in supporting the views that they have. So Sahil, can we just go to the response thing, that how do we give response to the situation?
As far as the response is concerned, I think government is doing a great job, because I was reading an article in the newspaper yesterday that ICMR has claimed that 80% of the cases which are coming, they are from asymptomatic. So if you are not showing any symptoms of whatever is being detailed as the symptoms of COVID, this coronavirus, and still you are infected. So this is this is very much difficult to, this is a difficult task to identify, and then quarantine, and then counseling them to isolate themselves into the house. So I think government is doing a great job in this thing. And although there are certain reports that government is also making under reporting of this thing, but I think it hardly matters, because as the number of cases, we have to take care of the number of deaths occurring because of this. And first of all, that is again a secondary issue. First issue is we need to prevent and break the chain, because this has not occurred in India every the patients have come from other countries like China and then other countries, Asian countries. So this is in response to this, the leaders have they have taken their they are putting every effort together to to keep this to keep this uh, problem at bay.
Yeah, so we can see that when, for example, how well Sahil has explained that prevention is only in breaking the chain, because we don't have a vaccine, we don't have any medicine to treat it, and it has been observed that if a person is staying in that condition for a longer time without taking care, then the infection is actually causing multiple organ failure. So looking at the kind of problem, there's no other way but to, the prevention is cure in this case. So we can see that, response thing, if we look at the crisis management, is a leader should enable his people to set planning scenarios. The planning scenarios means different kind of problems that might arise that can be foreseen. This is very much nature of a far-sighted leader, that we are able to imagine the scenarios which might happen, looking at the resources that we have. So in that case, we go by the planning resource, we go by setting the planning scenarios where we look at the resources, and then we check out that if the important resources are not there in place, say per se the case of India. So in those cases, how would we take the process forward? And looking at the problems that are occurring in our planning scenarios, we also have to plan response modules. Response modules means way we are going to give a response to certain kind of problems that are happening. Okay, and if we are going to give a certain kind of response, what minimum requirement is required in order for that plan to take off? The resources, the announcement, the governmental support, the law and order, the administration, from the supporting industries, the kind of support that we can attract or we can actually ask them for. So those are a part of preset activation modules. And the last very important thing is clear communication channels. Now here we're talking about internal communication also and external communication also. So in case of internal communication, it is the team, the crisis team, which is working as a task force, how well they communicate in the process that they have designed. And the other thing is the communication of outside people, who are outside the systems, but who are one of the stakeholders, because they are getting affected by the crisis that has happened. So uh, here we come to the last phase, which the Indian industry is yet to face, and Indian government is yet to plan that, to counter that challenge. That is, how do we carry the business post that? How do we plan, at the same time we plan the crisis, and at the same time we work on the recovery plan. So it is something which is very, very important, as the situation that we are in is getting controlled in certain areas. How do we revive the economy of those areas? How do we handle the crisis that is very much in place in certain, in certain districts? So now the Indian administration would have to do both kind of planning in order to come out of that situation.
I think just to add, ma'am, here,
Yeah.
after the first lockdown, which whole of India has seen, now is the time of the harvest season has come. So what the government has done is it is relaxing the areas which comes under the rural areas, and then because when they are not finding any cases in the rural areas, and if and as you rightly said that the districts have been divided into zones like red zone, yellow zone, and green zone. And then if I talk about Haryana, so there are only the urban cities or the urban areas, they have been considered as the red zone. the hinterlands and the rural areas, they have not been, where there is no case reported, or maybe very handful of cases are reported. So government is trying to ease the things out, and because of the harvest season, which is going on, the wheat harvesting is, very much important for Indian agriculture system and for India as well. So that is, I think they are going in the phased manner, and this is, I think, is a good strategy from, from the government.
Yes, yes, yes. So uh, now we come to the next slide that says what are some of the questions that need to be asked when we, as a leader, when we are in a crisis situation. So the questions that need to be asked is, how were the things planned and how were they going on? What happened and the area where the things went wrong? And after that, we have to look at how did we become aware of the problem? So what were the actions taken to counter the problem? Who were affected? And were there any warning signs that we should have taken into stride? And who is to be blamed? So this is a post-crisis kind of a leadership analysis to make us, it's not because we really want to play a blame game, it's because we want to understand that where the system is working. Because see, ultimately, when we talk about an organization is a huge setup. There are multiple peoples and everybody claims that they are doing best of their things in order to achieve the goal. So in those cases we need to really find that you know we need to introspect, or we need to take a feedback of the situation so that we can feed forward control the situation in a better way. So that is to be done. And in case when we talk about CEO of an organization, so here we are talking especially with the perspective of crisis leadership and the crisis communication part. So when we talk about crisis communication, the crisis communication should be always done by a leader who is responsible, uh, who has got a strong body language to show conviction of the way he's claiming the things to be, he or she is claiming the things to be. Understanding of the issue should be very, very clear, and he should be explaining to the audience in a very clear and the concise way the strategy that the government is planning. And apart from the strategy, the kind of the emotional thing that the government is displaying with the strategy which have been planned. So on the basis of the location and availability, of course, we need to plan. And so that's why we are saying that when we especially talk about the crisis communication, if the CEO is not a person who is deemed fit to undertake such kind of communication, then of course we can appoint a spokesperson for that reason. So we see that the communication channels that we are using nowadays are, it's the social media, it's employees, and it's the agility. So here I am taking, especially in case of, uh, here I'm talking more about generic cases. When we are talking about crisis communication, we are uh, we talk about social media. So social media is, for example, Twitter, FB, and these are the channels which are commonly accessed by the crowd, and especially the teenagers, decision makers. So it can actually cause you immediate a reputation crisis if you are not taking care of the feedback that you are receiving. So for that reason, we need to take care of how we are going to project ourselves on social media, and what are going to be the actions that will be taking on to handle the crisis. Of course, then employees also become your spokesperson in ordinary cases. So when we talk about the employees, um, here we are talking about an organization. Organization means that here, whenever the crisis is happening, whole employee base is not becoming a part of task force. So there is a division of people who are within the crisis team and who are outside the crisis team. So in that case, the people who are outside the crisis team, they play a very important role in projecting the image of the organization. So especially those people should be kept well informed about the progress that we are making, so that they are relieved and know and it should not be a case that the a lack of information is giving rise to rumors in the organization.
Yeah, if I can add, ma'am.
Yeah, sure, Sahil.
Yeah, as you rightly said, that communication is a very big thing which one should do, especially in this crisis cases, because when it comes to social media, government is trying to keep every stakeholder in the country communicated about all the developments which is being taking place, and even our honorable Prime Minister is coming up. I think he has come twice or thrice on the national channel to address the countrymen about this thing. So he's doing nothing but communicating with the employees, communicating with the general people and the employees per se. So as far as the employees, so now as the graded response which the government has given, I think the class A and class B employees have been called upon to serve the nation, and in this time of crisis, and C and D type of employees are they have to come gradually. So this is the kind of agility which the government is showing, and I think this is expected out of, and even our celebrities, even our to whom we follow meticulously, so they are also making people aware that maintaining social distance and taking care of others, and doing the prevention things. So I think communication is a very big thing, because spreading of rumors can be detrimental in this kind of crisis.
So
Yes, true,
we
Sahil.
have one more question from
Yes,
the group
please.
of attendees, which is that what financial problem comes when this pandemic is ending, and is there any employee? Is there many employees are going to lose their jobs? The question is by Mr. Durgesh Pathak.
Yes, so Durgesh, it's a very very apt question that you have asked. So yes, definitely there is going to be a financial issue because there is going to be a recession, but it also depends on which kind of, it will also depend on which industry, because see, if we see that, if we read out all the, articles that are published, that India is not going to solely enter into recession, because few of the sectors would be also there who would be benefiting out of this situation. For example, there is going to be a pharmaceutical industry, there is going to be there is going to be your hospital, your healthcare goods facilities, your FMCG. They always have demand all over, because they fall in the category of essential goods. So we really have to look into which kind of sectors are we talking about, because it is not true that all the sectors will enter into recession. See, and few sectors, as I say, they don't work on a daily trading basis, because those are, based on the manufacturing goods. For example, if I talk about the commodities, so of course, if we don't look at the agriculture, if we don't, look at the cycles which are going around in the term of harvesting period, as it was mentioned by Sahil sir. So in those kind of cases, there is going to be a recession, but yes, it is going to be occurring in three parts in Indian economy. The first are going to be the sectors which will take a direct hit. For example, the tourism, the hospitality, aviation sector, that is your apparel industry. These are the industries which will take a direct hit. On the other hand, we will see that a few of the industries are going to gain from this situation. Okay, whereas few of the industry, it is going to be dependent on uh, the the scenario that is going to come up in the future, because see, generally in education sector there are different kind of education institutes. So it is said that It is going to be dependent on which kind of the leadership is going to lead the education sector, because generally this is something which will be always in demand. So yes, there will be a financial crisis in certain sectors, because those sectors which will not be performing good, those are the sectors which would see a layoff in the future. But in those cases, one more thing that will become very much prevalent is going to be the concept of gig economy. The gig economy, the person would be paid for a skill. So if you are a high performer in the company, or you are star performer in the company, or you are the go-getters, those kind of people would definitely uh, find a way of different engagements with different kind of firms. So the scenario for them would be better. Of course, the job security, the long-term employment, those concepts will not be prevalent in those sectors, because of course when they are going through a state of bankruptcy, how they can actually give employment to their employees. So that is going to be a situation. So Durgesh, have I aptly answered your question, I hope?
Thank you, Anandita ma'am. Next question, Dr. Sahil, is for you. That it is by Parbani Mitra, and she's asking that what will be the effect of the pandemic on the supply chain and the operational sector using operational softwares.
As you can see that this pandemic has kept the world on a standstill. So I think all the sectors, be it operations, be it supply chain, be it any type of industry you can talk about, it is going to affect the, not in the long run, but yes, it is in the short run. It is going to affect all the processes. And if you talk about that, the manufacturing sector, which they were working on 100% capacity, or maybe according to that thing, so they have just halted their production. If I take an example of Maruti Suzuki, they have halted their production. Similar is the case with other sectors. So supply chain is going to have a hit because of this thing. And you can say the e-commerce industry, e-commerce business has already been, they have been hit hard. And yesterday also the advisory was issued by the government of India that uh, apart from essential things, they are not going to deliver anything. So I think there is a solid state of economy is there, yes, as far as this pandemic is concerned. But still, the vitals of the Indian economy is quite right. So I think we'll bounce back strongly after. But we have to see that how long we have to how long we have to remain in this crisis. But we have to come out of it gradually.
Thank you,
Yes,
Dr.
true, Sahil.
Sahil. Other question that has come from Ms. Grover, and I would like to keep it in front of the panelists, is that how the e-commerce is going to be affected.
I think Sahil, you would like to take upon that question because you just deliberated upon it.
Yes, just like I mentioned that e-commerce like Flipkart, Amazon, so many e-commerce websites, they have halted this delivery chains and their delivery businesses. But and yesterday the advisory has issued by the government that only the essential items will be delivered, and apart from this, until unless the the situation comes back to the normal, I think the scenario will remain the same as far as the e-commerce industries is concerned.
See, you have to look at the situation that we are actually fighting an invincible and kind of an invisible kind of a problem,
Yes,
where
yes.
the infection we are not able to see, and especially with the rise of asymptomatic cases, things are becoming more grave, because there has been hordes of people who have been tested in Delhi and Ahmedabad. They showed no symptom of COVID-19, but when they were tested, so if we go by this kind of a situation, then you can just understand that how much under risk we are. That this kind of a disease, it gets uncovered in the last phase of it, and till that time, all the hopes are gone. So so it's very, very essential to understand that at this point of time, doing nothing would save lives, and once we are able to save lives, we'll be definitely resume the livelihoods also.
And if I can just cite an example of a pizza delivery boy who has been,
Yes,
who has
tested positive.
tested positive. So if you can't take risk of, just going by for the business and then, compromising with the prevention and the security of this thing. So I think better late it is than, just, we should not rush with the things.
Yeah, true.
The all the people have been tested positive who were in touch with it. So luckily that's a edge. But yes, very rightly said by both of you. But somehow I feel that right now, because of social distancing as well, e-commerce industry will not see that much of a downfall. And if we see
Yeah,
that, if we see these e-commerce sites that you were mentioning, so the essentials were only allowed, and even the prices were removed from these various sites from the various products, and the delivery was stopped. And now, if we see the change in trend, wherever the relaxation in the lockdown has been given, the products are still being delivered, but then to the other pin codes, they are saying that the delivery is stopped. So maybe that's what I wanted to add to both of you.
yes.
Whatever you said, that there might not be that much of a fall for these e-commerce sites.
Yes, it is
Thank you,
just
Supreet.
just waiting for the market to open up, because once the market resumes, automatically these goods will take over. And since we are a manufacturing based economy, I mean, because the majority relies on manufacturing, so once it is resumed, or even if it's partially resumed, it will definitely add to the economic condition. It will actually improve the economic health of India.
Yes, we
And
have to
also,
wait for, I think.
correct.
Yes,
And also, if I add one more point, so one of the major reasons that these e-commerce sites are not delivering right now, because if they start delivering, the retail stores who have these stocks stocked up of goods might not be able to sell the product. So they are looking at that we open everything at the same time. So that could
true,
one of
true,
the
true.
major
To keep the
reasons that is
competition going, to keep the
correct.
competition
Correct.
going.
Right.
So,
So,
any more questions, Stuti, or we can proceed with the slides?
ma'am, you please proceed. As in when they'll come,
Yeah,
I'll
sure, sure, sure. So now we come to the final conclusion for which we have actually organized today's webinar. Till this time, I was just taking you through a case of COVID-19 and how India Inc. was responding to it. So looking at this thing, we have to understand that when you are spearheading a crisis kind of a situation, being a leader, there are few things that needs to be done. The first is you should be very well informed about what is happening and what are the challenges these things are going to pose to your organization. The next thing is that you have to plan these scenarios in order to combat that situations, and you have to actually plan the response also early only, so that you are not taken by surprise. The another thing is that the best strategy is the prevention strategy. Try to prevent the situation before it happens or before it takes control from your hand. That is the third thing a leader has to be done. So if you see, it was announced by few countries when India announced the lockdown, that it was an early move. But today, if we see, we can see that it was actually a very apt move, because if in that situation it was not announced, then today we would have been in a situation that is being faced by America or US or Spain right now. So the other thing is that you need to have a task force, which is very, very important. You're trustworthy people, and for taking the surveillance of the situation, there should be another task force which is going and checking the ground zero reality, because the crisis is that kind of situation which can do you a big loss if you are taken unaware. So in those cases, you need a team at ground zero which is going to give you the exact reality of the things and how the things are proceeding, what are the challenges that we are facing, how well the state administration or the district administration is responding to the proposed advisory. So we can see that the government of India has taken that role of the monitoring also. And the last is ensuring that the communication channels are open, and there are multiple communication channels so that people can reach up to you, the information can reach up to you. So anything that happens at any small part of India, due to social media, we know that, if we are able to track the news which are happening, we can get update on any new happening that is that is taking part in even the smallest corner of India, and that can be we can actually strategize to reach a solution to it. So from here we come to it's something which is your takeaway. The first, there are few critical components which you should practice to come to a leadership 3.0 kind of version. The first is agility. You should be actually able to move really fast, and when you do so, you need a team of trustworthy people, and you need information, you need data. So these two sources will actually help you to move fast. Then you should have a very flexible and adaptable kind of an approach, because it might happen that after some time, you are actually a new situation. So in that case, you should not be headbound. This is the final strategy I have made and I have to go by it. No, every plan, if you find that it's not according to the ground reality, so you can tweak your plan according to the requirement. Then empathy is another thing, that you should be really empathetic about the people, about and this empathy should also it should also reflect in the way you are actually handling the people, or you are speaking to your employees, you are speaking to your team, or you're speaking to the public at large, because that is very much required when you are already in a situation of crisis. The preparedness and the resilience, that means the hope to come back, hope to be strong in the testing times also. So that is very much required. Transparency in every space, that we are not supposed to hide data or hide certain things, because that makes the system untrustworthy. So I think these are some important things, especially when we look at crisis. We have to ensure that all those things are they are implemented and they are practiced by the leader himself.
What I
Yeah.
can
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, what I can link here, that these are the components which is required for an effective crisis leadership. But I just want to go behind this one thing, one step behind that. To do an effective leadership, one has to have one has to define the problem first. So what I have done from my end, that COVID, it's a it has become a buzzword, and every now and then we are just stating about this thing. But I have defined it in a acronym manner. So if I take COVID as 5 letters, and if I just define this, so if I start with you can say COVID. Yes, C stands for it is contagious. O stands for it is an outbreak. Now it has been converted into a pandemic. Now V stands for it is vigorously spreading, because earlier from the state of Wuhan, now spreading to at almost 200 countries of the world. So it is vigorously spreading, and still it is going on. Then when it comes to I, it is isolating the world, because world has become a standstill, and it has uh, there is no economic activity, there is no other activity going on. And the last is, you can say, D, and D stands for dire consequences. So dire consequences, like economy is going it's not going well, and other things are going on. So these are the 5 things which which are the takeaways from my side as far as this problem is concerned. Because to have an effective solution, you have to objective, you have to have good objective, as far as you have to have good understanding of the problem at hand. So this was my concern.
So now, after after this crisis period is over, uh, or we can say when we have reached to a certain stage where certain areas will be still under the crisis and we will be still, experimenting with them, but there are other areas which we can encourage them to take up the normal economic activity. So in those cases, the organization would have to really look at, look at the way in which the demand can be restored from the customer side. They can revive the market demand. They have to reach to the customers in very innovative ways, so that they can all because see, now they are saying that the investment patterns of the customer post COVID is going to be a bit unpredictable. There are some people who would be actually indulging in loose spending, whereas there are few people who must be saving up, and there will be a mix of people also. So in those cases, we know that under these kind of circumstances, knowing the market sentiments and knowing the consumer behavior is going to help us a lot in in reviving the market demand. So uh, here, for some time, the companies have to play very, very strategically in order to understand what the goals of the organizations can be for different time periods as the market would be in the recovery phase. And the most important thing here for the Indian economy that will be a challenge of Indian government is going to invite the FDIs, because see, ultimately those are important for any kind of economy of a country. So now we have a good news here that the post allegations on China that they have failed to share the importance or the gravity of the situation in a timely matter, which has actually affected the world economy in a bad way. So there are chances that India as a developing country can actually benefit out of this situation. So really the government has to do a lot of branding in a timely manner so that we can attract FDIs, because FDIs will play a very important role in reviving the market that is there. So now we come to the people, the students who will have a question that how is going to be the employment scenario. So the employment scenario is going to be very, very dynamic. There is going to be a demand for people, but the traditional jobs are going to go away, and there is going to be a multitude of work that is going to be required to be done by you as an employee of the company. So just you have to forget long-term jobs, and also you have to forget you know um, to work within tight silos. So it is going to be a multi-dimensional or a affairs kind of a thing that you have to take up. A lot of adaptation would be there, a lot of performance pressure would be there, and the companies are going to work on a high performance culture, because with the a less amount of money that they have for taking care of their operating expenses, the company would be only going for star performers and high performers. So in that case, if you fail to make into the position of high performers, it is definitely going to be a problem. So more of entrepreneur skills, that means having the understanding of the business in the totality apart from the job profile that you have, will be a very, very positive way to look forward if you really want to progress in your career in these testing times. And how the MBA degree is going to help you, because see, ultimately the trade, business, economics, small organizations, big organizations, privately owned organization, public-private partnership, all this requires you to have a good knowledge about the market, good knowledge of important functional areas as well as the niche areas which are there, which are very much prevalent in the market. So I think that MBA is a complete degree that is going to prepare you for that leadership journey ahead. And it
Anandita
is
ma'am, I will just ask you to, just because we'll be just ending the session,
yeah, yeah, sure,
as
sure, sure.
sorry to cut you in,
Hmm.
but the session will be on auto mode, so it will be just ending in couple of
Last
seconds.
2 points
So
from
I
my
thought,
side, if you permit.
Yeah. Yes, yes, sure, sure.
please,
Please go
please,
ahead.
please, but in a
Uh,
bit quickly.
quickly. Yes, yes. Ma'am, you were saying something?
No, no, please go ahead, Sahil.
Okay, ma'am. Just as a career counseling to the careers to the students who have joined this webinar, just 3 piece of advice from my side: that never judge, never jump to the conclusion. You have to reach the conclusion. Don't just dwindle your mind here and there. Apply your common sense, whatever is best for you as per your competency and as per your skills, knowledge, and abilities. Just go by that. And the last thing, keep your hands full, because keep doing and something at any time, because don't sit idle and just spoil your time, because this is the time where you can make or break your careers.
Yes, true, sir. I agree with that. So, Stuti, over to
Yes.
you. We are done with the presentation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Sahil sir and Anandita ma'am, for such an interactive session. And I would also at the same time like to thank our participants for their active participation in so many questions. We are still left with few questions. We'll get back to those questions on your email. Thank you for participating and hope to see you soon in the first week of May with our third webinar, which would be on financial management with the experts of finance from Faculty of Management Studies. In the end, I'll just like to say, stay home, stay safe,
Stay
and take
safe.
care of yourself. Stay
Yes.
safe and take care
Yes,
of
ma'am.
yourself, and
And
hopefully,
keep
let's see
yourselves
what happens
busy. Keep yourselves
as much
busy
as possible
as much
for
as
your
Thank you,
peace of
possible.
Dr.
mind.
Stuti, for giving us this opportunity, for sharing
You
Thank
our,
you,
also.
Stuti, and thank
these.
you, Sahil, for being very, very supportive.
Thank you, faculty members. Thank you, Anandita
Yeah,
ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all
Thank
of
you.
you for your participation, and we look forward to have you again with us on in the first week of May, and we'll be keeping you posted with it. Thank you very much. Thank you. And your certificates would be received by all of you after latest by tomorrow from the Go to Webinar website, and the recording of the webinar would also be available on the same. They'll get send you a notification on your email of the same. Thank you. All of you have a good day. Thank you, Dr. Sahil, and thank you, Dr. Anandita, for such a wonderful session. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye, Stuti. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.